everyone, so this is my review of Scorpion, Season 3, Episode 1, called Civil War, and basically what this episode is about is that Team Scorpion has to put their personal issues aside when the U.S. military's aircrafts and warships are taken over by a group of hackers. And I thought this was a really great season opener episode, with all the team going and doing all this stuff, and just it was all done so well and organized pretty well. But I do have to say there were some moments where it did get a little long, especially for the fact that this episode was a two-parter, was showing both parts on the same night. It still got some moments got a little long, which I'll go more into detail of what I think of that. In the second part of this, I'm going to be talking about in the video that comes out right after this, probably pretty quickly right after this one. At first, I really liked the moment when Walter goes to Lake Tahoe to try and confess to Paige that he is in love with her and all this stuff. I liked it up until he found out what also Walter did on his trip up there, where he called and switched a hotel and did all this stuff to sort of ruin Tim and Paige's date. I liked Walter's goals until I found that out, because then I didn't really like it because Walter's just not good at people still and just not good at understanding, and he decided to just put it all on him, thinking that Paige would be totally okay with all this stuff when that's not how it would go if it actually worked out at Lake Tahoe. And then she found out this stuff later. I definitely don't think it would have worked out. Then the whole actual mission that they're on with the U.S. military was really well done, like I said. And I especially like the whole sort of beginning chunk with the two aircrafts. But I'm very curious to know with the two aircrafts, because one was sort of aiming its guns at the other ones out of control of the two pilots in the two planes. What happened to the first plane that was shot down? Because all they sort of talked about was that it was shot down. They didn't say if the pilot survived or if he didn't or any of this stuff. His plane was just sort of shot down and then they sort of just forgot about him. So I'm very curious to know what actually happened to that pilot. I'm pretty sure he died based on what they did slightly say. But still, it would have been nice to kind of know, hey, he died, and not, hey, his plane was just shot down, and then just not talk about it again and just focus on the other plane. Which, I mean, like I said, it's reasonable, but I also wish they would have gone into a bit more detail on it. And the way that the teams were broken up in this episode was fairly reasonable in my mind, but with Tim being on edge about his opinions of Walter, with Walter showing up at Lake Tahoe, it made it seem like it wasn't reasonable, but it was, and if it was like any other mission, I definitely think that's how the groups would have been broken up, without all this back sort of hinging on it of Lake Tahoe and all that stuff. I still think the group would have been broken up like that. So it was perceived kind of as it was abnormal, but it was actually completely normal in my opinion. I liked all the moments with Happy and Toby doing all these mental tricks to try and get Happy to give him clues of who the person is that she's actually married to. Those scenes were really enjoyable to watch, especially the one where Toby and Happy are doing all this stuff to try and get the last aircraft that's up in the air out of control of the hackers. So they're doing all this work while also arguing and also having all the other team hear them arguing. And just all that stuff was really, really funny and really, really fun, and I enjoyed that moment so much. And then the moments with Paige and Walter at this embassy, I think it was, where they're doing all this hacking with the computers to try and get the warships and aircrafts out of the control of the hackers, was interesting. The only real highlight was the point where they turned their backs to the windows just to end up getting a rocket shot at them from the warship that was over just out in the bay. That was really fun and exciting, but then once they got out onto the streets away from the burning building and Walter and Paige were doing all this stuff where all the secrets were revealed and blah blah blah, was way too over dramatic in my opinion with how it was all done. But it's also interesting to see how it's all going to turn out with basically having Paige be the only one now who doesn't know Walter's feelings for Paige. I do have to say overall, with how this first chunk was done, I really enjoyed it and it was really fun. and I absolutely can't wait to see what the rest of the season will bring. So, yeah, that's my review of Scorpion Season 2, Episode 1, called Civil War. So, yeah. Bye!